Okay, today we're going to talk about uh, leg imbalance issue, right? Because I know some of you asked me this, and so in case you experience this, because it's not necessary for people who have like serious this leg issue, but also like maybe due to overtraining, sometimes you experience something different between your left and your right legs. So this is something you can pay attention to. So the first thing we're going to talk about causes for leg imbalance, right? There are a few more, but these are the main one. The first thing is leg length discrepancy. That's how you feel like there's an imbalance. So normally it can be it can be from birth, from you're young, and then something happened to you, then you have muscle tightness at anything, and then one of your hips actually tighten up. And if you go and check, right, when they put your knee together, when you're in a seated position with legs straight, right, straight legs, and you'll notice that when they normally will match your ankle, your left ankle and your right ankle together, right? There's a bones outside of your ankle, and you can see that one of your leg is longer than the other legs. So when you run, right, you feel like you're not really running, but more like galloping kind of style. And sometimes you won't feel that. So, but I suggest you can go and check, right, and then and measure the things. Uh, so most of the people will suggest you to like when you go and make a new shoes, custom made, and they normally will put a higher insoles. So those are the quick fix, but we're going to talk about other things to see whether this issue can be like fixed for long term kind of things. So the other thing that causes leg imbalance, right, between your left and the right is your muscle tightness or muscle weakness. Normally one side will be tight, the other one will be weak. That means the weak one will have been overstretched and it lose its function to support your legs. So when you run, right, normally you will feel different, especially when you run faster. And to do that, right, sometimes it can be caused by you are in a position for too long, normally a sitting position, which I will talk on the next one. So sometimes can be training. You focus more on one side. It's not uncommon. There's a lot of sports where you will have this kind of issue, like when you need to use your dominant side of your limbs, right? Like football, you will have actually football is different. If you always kick the ball with your right leg, right? Surprisingly, the stronger leg is actually your left legs. We measure in the lab, right? Then I Google, and then there's a research saying the same thing. So one of the possible things is because you use your left leg to support your body more, right? So the kicking part is different. There's a power, but in terms of strength, right? Actually, your left leg has more strength compared to your right. Rarely running, you will have this issue unless when you start to run faster, okay? Which I'm going to talk about it later on. And the third one, uh, mainly are posture, standing and sitting posture for too long in a wrong posture that cause muscle imbalance. One will be too tight because you keep on contracting that part of the muscle, and the other one is fully stretched, right? So the muscle that is fully stretched, if it's not strong, right, it become loose. So when and sitting part normally is not just the normal sitting, right? One of the things we always talk about is actually cross leg, right? I noticed this. I think there's a journal talk about it. Like if you do cross leg, normally people will cross either left to the right or right to the left. You actually stretch a lot. You lose out one of your hip and tighten the other side. So when you run, right, your both leg don't feel the same, right? So you can recall back and see whether you actually are someone who constantly cross leg when you sit. There's a way to do with this, which I'm going to go through later on. So these are the three main reasons. There are other reasons as well. Not something that frequently happen, like car accident, or you do other sports that you crash and fall, like cycling, right? And you will develop that kind of injury, which causes, especially when you injured one side, right? You cause that imbalance. So this is not something that happened to everyone. So that's why I don't touch on it, but it's something that did happen, right? To some of the people that I know, including myself. Okay, so yeah, so these are the posture I need to talk about. sitting posture, walking posture, even running posture. So here we have the correct and the incorrect way. But the most important thing is actually your head, your shoulder, and your spine alignment, right? It's better for it to be straight. And I think one of the advice that was given to me last time is that he said, like, if you can, try to stand during most of the time, which I can feel the balancing, right? Where do I put more of the pressure on my toe or my heel, or my hip is tilted forward? That means you either arch your back or flatten your back when you are standing. The same apply to sitting and running as well. So be aware of your body posture, right? Really, sometimes like you sit down there and then you need to really like feel and sense the body position, right? If not, you won't be able to tell the difference between a correct and the wrong posture, right? So these are the three main reasons, and I'm going to go through more. So walking, like, my my mom also said the same thing. My coach also said the same. When you walk, right, don't keep looking down on the floor. I think Chinese, there's a word they call the mobile generation, the mobile phone generation, where you uh what's the Mandarin word? Or Cantonese word, tao tap tap, is it, or something like that? It means you always look down kind of position. There is actually very bad position to actually walk, or even like running and even doing your work. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about how can you fix those leg imbalance issue. There's a few things you can do. Normally depends on where you are now. So if you are having weight issue or you still not fit, right, I do suggest you start from balancing and stability exercise, so that you can always feel your legs during the workout kind of thing, right? If you whether it feels sore between left, like if you do your left, because we're going to do single legs exercise most of the time for this type of things, so you will feel like whether that is left can only handle 10 reps, and then your right can handle like 17, 20 reps. So then you know like there's actually a huge difference between your left and the right legs. So you can use a bosu. It's one of the effective way to use bosu. This one will train your toe and your grip and your arch, right? And the other way, if you want not so big thing, you don't have space to put, and you have balancing issue, you can use a balance pad. I think I showed you this before. Or you can do the reverse way using bosu, and then you move slowly uh, up and down through a range of motion, and see like how your leg behave. Sometimes when you bend down, right, your leg will start to get shaky a lot, right? Then you know that your muscle is not ready, your balancing issue is not ready. So do it slow is okay. You can do with support. You can tie a band, resistor band in front of you, and then you go and do the movement slowly while with support. Right? It's okay to have support, right? Don't like straight away immediately you start like, okay, I can do this. If you can do it, that's better, right? If not, then you have something to support you. Now, if you want to increase, like if you feel boring doing this workout, you can do a bit of like fun thing, where you can throw tennis ball on the wall. For starting, you can throw light, so then you start to throw fast, and then like see your leg ready or not for these type of things. So yeah, this is what you can do for balancing and stability. Just keep it simple. There are more exercise which I will share and talk more in the training peaks in the future. So the second thing is to do more single leg strength exercise, right? So this is where the foundation start. So you did the balancing. It does help with strength as well. But strength, you have two types. You can use your body weight, or you can increase using any like dumbbell kind of thing. So you can put the weight jacket. So I suggest there are other type of single leg exercise like lunges, but you can do with this lunges with leg support to your hind legs, right? Single leg squat all the way down, and you can carry weights if you feel like you already get used to it, right? So the important role here is the body is straight. A lot of people, they tends to lean forward. One of the reasons they lean forward is because the hip is very tight. So no, it's prefer that you do a lot of stretching, right? Lunges stretching. Like I always tell you all to do the straight leg, right? Deep the low knee lunges. That means you need to go very low and open up your whole leg straight, so you can open up and stretch your hips area. If not, your body won't be able to stretch, and then you won't be able to hit the right muscles. So you can do this. I think this one is simple enough for you all to do. And the second thing you can do is this is for people who are fit, the young one. The pistol squat is one of the exercise not only to train, but you can also use it to test on the leg length balance between your left and right. I think when you go down, sometimes you can't even go down. So you see between left and right, how much can your left go down and how much can your right go down. Once you can have that happen, right, then you see like how many repetition can your left legs do and how many repetition can your right leg do. I know some of you cannot do this because you have never tried this. Sometimes maybe because of you have tight calf muscle and you just cannot squat down. Some of you even cannot squat down with two legs. So one leg may be difficult for you. So what I suggest that you can do with a suspension trainer to go all the way down to train and feel how the muscle works. Because to go down and come up, right, it will target the hamstring as well, especially on the way up, right? On the way down also can, if you go slow with the weight, you can hit the hamstring as well. The other thing I think I get you guys to do as well is to do this single leg, but with a bench, right? That means you go down, so you're not totally all the way down. There's a bench close to your knee height. So when you go down, the moment your butt touch the bench, right, you can come up. So there's a progressive movement. Like last week we talked about like how to avoid muscle damage from eccentric exercise, its range of motion. So you can do a half squat first, right, which is about 125 degrees, and then you go to 90 degrees. And for this deep squat is below 90 degrees, maybe 75 to 80 degrees down. So you go level by level down, right? You don't have to go all the way down, especially those who are just started and have not performed this type of exercise before. Okay, next is the single leg Romanian deadlift. You can carry weights or you can choose not to do weight. The most important thing here is that your legs, one of your legs will align with the body, especially when you lean forward. The other legs that's supposed to go to the lift up is supposed to be aligned, move together, right? The support leg, you can have the knee bend a bit because if not, you're gonna stretch the hamstring a lot. So if you ask me what's the if you don't want to do a lot of exercise, what are the best exercise to build single leg strength? It's actually these three. Each build slightly different muscle, but if you cannot do the single leg squat, right, you can do the single leg Romanian deadlift. It's one of the very important thing because it will target your lower back as well for single leg deadlift. A lot of our national injured athlete, right, the one I see come back very strong, especially those in the individual sports, right, they did very well in the single leg Romanian deadlift. It helps them a lot. And I think since then, I think when they came out, right, they start their own fitness studio or whatever, they also emphasize a lot on single leg Romanian deadlift. So this is something you can do. This three exercise, okay. But like I said, you need these three to hit all the muscles. This is the most important thing. There are many kinds. You see a lot of variation kind of exercise, but these three are one of the one that can hit all the muscle to build single leg. And you can, when you do, right, when we talk about strength exercise, it's better for you to go slightly slower. Why? Because you will know if your leg can handle it or not. Some of you, like sometimes when you go down, like because when you go up and down, there's an opposite muscle working. So if you move too fast on one angle, right, you actually bypass that process, right, and you don't know whether your leg is strong or not, especially the one you can tap on the gravity. So you do, we call isokinetic. That means same speed movement. You know, the type when you move, right, you move slow. That means the speed is the same when you're going up and you're going down. So it can actually trigger those muscles, right? So then you know whether you are strong or not. When you can control the muscle, then you are strong. So just now when we talk about the balance exercise and the front part here, right? You notice the girl, right? The one in using the balance pad in the second photo there. There's another exercise. Balance exercise involve also this thing we call isometric, like plank, right? You can do it with your legs. the same thing. So one of the isometric exercise you can do with your legs is the wall sit. But this is two legs, wall sit. You know, wall sit, that means you pretend there's a bench, you're sitting down, but your back is actually leaning against the wall. You can do other type of exercise like you do heel raise. That means your heel lift off the ground, right? And you are tiptoeing, and then you just stand there, right? And then you see your calf is constantly contracting. Just stay still, and then your shin was constantly pulling, but there's force there. So these are one of the exercises you can do to build, especially on your shin and your calf. We will do that actually in the future. Some of you will be doing that. Then we also have those that can aim and hit on your hip area, but not this. So, but these three will be enough for you. Okay. So after you conduct, if you are strong with the strength, you know strength is not your issue. The other thing may be the power issue, right? So we're gonna do single leg hop. Once you're done with the strength, you need to do hopping, because when you run, right, every step is actually a power move. So you can do single hop, like when we were young, we play the, I don't know what's the name of the gully thing, where with the boxers thing, you jump, single leg hop, 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 and then you turn around and then you hop, hop, hop. Hopping is one of the most important thing exercise. So once you can do the hop, right, we can elevate and progress to single leg hurdle jumps. That means that we put hurdle. I think some of you did this before. Only some of you have done the single leg tuck jump. Normally, I only tell the young one to do it. So this is how you go progress one by one. But single leg hop, play around with it, because when you do single leg hop, right, you need to control the movement in the. Don't do too fast, don't rush, because you need to let your legs and your feet and your toe to feel the ground. It helps you to balance. The more balanced you are, then the faster you can go, right? And surprisingly, if your toe can be activated, right, when you're landing, right, the muscle around your knee and your hip will be more alert. They are more responsive, and they will protect your knee joint kind of problem, right? So this is one of the things that you should be doing. If you want more challenging, you can single leg hop. If you stay in a landed property, or you want to try in your high-rise building, right, you can do single leg hop up the stairs. You know, one story, one legs, and then the other story using one legs. But this is for young people, for those who are 50 years old and above. I don't suggest you keep on doing this. Later, something happen, you roll down from the top floor. So it's all about safety version compared to the rest. We have more dynamic one, but you need to have people supervise you. Okay. The other thing, you can do the single leg jumps. So with the hind leg behind, supported by a bench, you can do these single leg jumps. Like I said, you can do progressively. That means you can, like, when you land, you can go for half squat, then full squat. Normally, you cannot go for deep squat on this, right? So this is what you can do on the single leg jump. So you can try. Only if you have done on your strength exercise, because if not, you feel like you're very tired on this, and if you don't have the strength, right, your knee will lose support very fast. So what you need to do is, I suggest you to stop if you like cannot complete the repetition. Maybe you want to do like 12 repetition, but then by 6, 7, you feel like your leg very tired, very sore, like just stop, right? Because your leg doesn't have enough strength. So as your strength progress, the number of repetition of this power exercise will definitely able to increase as well. So do you need weight for this? Actually, you can increase weight, but I suggest lighter weight, right? Lighter weight. The reason is because when you do power, right, we try not to restrict the time it takes to execute the power. Some people will carry so heavy, right, until they really cannot fire the muscle. So you can carry the weight up to the speed that you can execute. Is that I normally will record the bounce. It should not be a single bounce like that. 6 bounce continuously should not slower than 10 seconds. So if you are slower than 10 seconds, right, that means that weight is too heavy. So you can check on this, like six bounce, 6 jumps, or single leg jumps. How long does it take for you to finish 6? Right? Then you know, like, okay, this is my speed without weight. And when you increase weight, right, the weight should not slow you down by more than 2 seconds. Normally should not be more than 1 second, but give and take 2 seconds. So you can do this at home. Some of you will see this exercise starting next week already. But some of you already started, some like quite some time, right? Okay, correcting your posture. Posture is one of the main issue. Actually, most people don't know. You sometimes run, you feel like, hey, why my knee very pain? Because you sit very long. Sometimes you stand in a very weird position. So normally, like, you don't suggest, sometimes you want to skip on this. Yeah, eye align with the screen. Like for me now, if you notice, later on you'll notice, like I elevate my laptop. Actually, the best one is actually to use a desktop, especially when you elevate the whole thing. Because laptop, if you elevate, right, the keyboard is also elevated. So sometimes your wrist will hurt when you do that. So you have to get external keyboard, right, to type. So you will have two keyboard, one on the lower ground. Yep. So make sure your head don't always look down, because you will overstretch. You shift the weight. Your head is very heavy, so you actually shift the weight. If you don't believe me, I tell you, your hair alone is also very heavy. If you board your head, right, you feel like your head is loose like that. You feel like your head is gone because it's too light. Serious. Especially those who got long hair, suddenly you board, right? You feel like your head like very, very light, right? Yeah, your head is very heavy. So make sure that the eye align with your desktop or your laptop screen. And I suggest you don't sit more than 2 hours continuously. Set alarm to alert you that it's time to stand up and move around, and then come back and continue to work like half an hour later, kind of things. It happens to me twice before. I think one is somewhere around 2008 or 2010, and the other one is somewhere around 2017, 16 and 17, when I was helping with dodgeball. They all, I really spent like almost close to 16, 18 hours in front of the laptop whole day, because I need to do research, I need to analyze data, I need to go through all the videos to see how people play, and then I need to record down one by one. And then if you can't see it, you have to replay the video. When you caught up into work, especially those who are workaholic, you will actually spend too much time until you forgot about it. So sometimes nobody there to remind you that you need to, especially when you're alone, nobody remind you. Sometimes you even forgot to eat your meal or something like that. So set an alarm is good, right? Don't sit too long, because when you sit, right, you will stretch your hamstring and your hamstring muscle. Actually, your hamstring muscle is like almost will be fully stretched. Your hip will be tightened, right? Your hip will be tightened, and it will be tight, and your hamstring will be loose. So when you run, right, you will have leg support issue. Especially it can lead to knee joint problem. Most people don't know about this, but it's actually sitting can cause a lot of knee injury. So it's not the running actually causing the injury. It's actually you sit too long, right? Okay. This why a lot of people, when they never run before they start running, they straight away got knee problem, and they say, cannot run. Running is very very bad for the knee. Actually, it's not. It's because their hamstring is not strong, right? Their quads is strong sometimes, but not the hamstring. Okay, like I mentioned just now, don't cross leg when sitting. Try to control yourself. So I'm not sure if you want to cross leg, you can cross both leg maybe, and then both the left and right hip or near the butt area become loose. I never tried that, so I don't know what happened when you do double cross leg. Sim meditation, people also do double cross leg. Maybe you can go, I think, but not single leg, because that will cause leg imbalance between the both. Okay, because normally people only cross one side, Okay, standing. One of the thing, right, it can help you to actually achieve kind of like help you improve your balance issue is standing. When you stand, right, you feel like you stand long enough, you will try to control your pelvic area, right? And then you try to stand in the middle and adjust your feet, because when you stand, your toe actually is quite active, right? And then you need to achieve balance. So that's why there are some people, just now I show you one of the graphic where people now doing their work standing. So they bought this elevated desk, walking desk, right? So that it can elevate up so they can stand straight, right? So standing actually can help more on the posture correction than sitting. So of course there are other things you can work you can buy actually to help you. Yeah, so when you're standing, check on your, especially your lower back, whether it's arching or flat. So depends on your condition. Of course, your weight, your chest. From standing, you will know, and then you need to actually contract your muscle. You need to feel. Sometimes you need to use your hand to touch the abs and your lower back, right? So that it can trigger the muscle. So that's why some people, right, when they're walking halfway while standing, you see some people actually go and rub their stomach. Of course, you can say it help with digestion, whatever, but it's actually to trigger the muscle. Sometimes you can touch your back, like rub against your back. It activates the sensory system so that your nerve system can respond. Don't lean your weight on one leg. I've seen a lot of people, especially the female, they normally will tend like, they love to lean on one side, then the other side like not doing anything. And sooner or later, right, it will actually loosen one part of the leg muscle, especially on the hip area. And then when you run, right, you feel the imbalance. These are the things that you try to pay attention when you're standing. So for running, alignment is very important. Like I mentioned before, if you stand, okay, sitting also can achieve the same thing. When you stand, right, or you lean, right, there's a position where you feel like very relaxed, because all the bones are aligned, especially with the head. Like I said, your head is quite heavy actually, right? So when you align the position, right, then you feel like, okay, this position, I don't feel so straight. I feel like very straight. Normally, you need to align your head with your shoulder and your spine, right? Then the hip, later on, you can adjust. And then, of course, the ankle. The ankle also will determine whether you're leaning forward too much. And then one side of the muscle will be stressed compared to the other side. Before you run fast, you run slow, you can feel that position. Once you get used to it, then you can increase the speed while maintaining that body slightly position. You can only lean if you can get the momentum going. If not, like leaning forward will drive a lot of energy from you, especially when you need to balance. When you lean forward too much, right, your back muscle actually have to support you. If not, it will be fully stretched. So building the back muscle, upper back and lower back muscle is very important for this. You really cannot, like, you really don't want to spend so much time focusing on this. You can buy some of this back support, because everybody's spine will be different. So if all this thing doesn't help you, right, you can get some of these external tools or gadget to help you to align your body. So some of my chair, they actually have the lumbar support, right? Even in cars as well, especially if you drive a lot. And the other thing is to buy the posture corrector, right? Making sure you're in the right posture sometimes feel more tired than in the wrong posture, because you're already in the wrong posture for so long, right? And those wrong posture can also affect other things like breathing issue, stitches, which you don't really pay attention, especially when you're doing your other things like sitting for too long. So when you run, you suddenly will feel that thing happen to you. Okay. What about training? These are all like normal, like training kind of thing, like strength training, weight training kind of thing. So running, I know some of you would tell me before that when you run, you can really feel like your left is not able to cope up. When you train, you feel like your left leg is not able to cope up with your right leg. Okay. This normally happen, right, when you actually running at a faster pace, or actually when you're tired, like you push so fast, and then when you're tired and you slow down and you feel like something wrong with my left and right. But normally it's when you increase your pace, right, then you feel the difference. So what should you do when this type of things happen? So the first thing I think I mentioned to most of you before, and some of you, is to lower down your running speed, right? So that normally your weaker leg is your left leg, most of you. So when you lower down the speed, you need to make sure that your right leg is following the pace that your left leg can handle. Then, so what can you do to increase the speed? If you want to increase the speed, you can increase the cadence, right? You go with shorter stride for now, until you fix the problem. Normally it's like this. When you increase your speed, right, by right, your cadence and your stride length will increase together by right, if you are a fitter runner. But a lot of people, they're focusing a lot of cadence, because if you go with stride length and you have leg imbalance, right, you can have heel strike problem, like you can got injury or pain on your heel. It can be on the knee, it can be on the hip, it can be on the lower back. So that's why when the idea behind running at higher cadence, like 180 and above, right, is because they found that higher cadence actually can reduce the problem or injury caused by longer stride. But some of you can really right now, right, you can increase cadence above 200 plus, but the speed is still there, not increasing. So we need to work on the stiffness of the lower legs. So if you want to run fast, right, if you want to train your the leg strength through running, striding is one of the way. So you do it short. So starting, I would say 100 meter. For most of you, you can do 200 meter or 300 meter. And if you get strong enough, then we go for 6, 8, and 1000 meter. Okay. Because when you do shorter distance, you can allow yourself to open up your stride, which actually building your stride length. So normally people run fast, right? You notice that they cannot hold very long. So the moment they're tired, right, they will shorten their stride length and they will focus on cadence. But the strong runner, they can hold the stride length for a longer period of time. Of course, there's another thing that's gonna involve affect you is your body weight. So normally, I don't. You notice some of you, like, I don't actually give you longer distance because I'm actually checking on your weight. So if I think your weight, if your BMI is higher, I won't give you longer striding distance one. So maybe other people are doing like 600, 400, maybe you're doing 200, 300 only, right? So those are the things that I'm looking at when I try to give you the distance. So I think today, most of you resting, maybe tomorrow morning, if can, again, you all maybe once a week for now, you key in your body weight on Saturday morning. After one day rest, I want to see like how does your body weight is during this period of MCO and pandemic. Are you getting heavier? Maybe you eat more because, or you actually getting lighter, or it can be either one. So it's good to check. Okay. And of course the weight, if you can get the fat data is better, because weight loss may not be just getting body light, because you may lose muscle, you may not lose weight. So I need to know whether you did the right training or the wrong training, because especially when you do run fast running and you are not taking breakfast or any food prior to that, you can lose a lot of muscle mass, right? Especially you do too much. But so far I have not given you high volume of high intensity, so don't worry about that. Okay, so if you are chronic, if neither of this is working, right, you can go and see chiropractors and physiotherapists or any Chinese therapist kind of sensei kind of things, where they do the acupuncture kind of thing to release the muscle tension, so to correct the body posture. I try many of these. Some works, some don't, depends on the degree of chronic kind of things. So I think sometimes you really need some support, things like something wearable for you to actually correct your posture. Okay, if not, it can cause slip disc. Sitting posture. A few of my friends, they sit too long and then suddenly they came back and run, and some of them did develop slip disc, and because of the posture kind of things, right? So these are something that posture can affect, not just the balance, but also your spine problem. Okay, so if you want to know, normally it's very straightforward. Normally, how we did it in the lab last time, we use ground contact time. We have this force platform, but for you all, the thing you can access now is the one I know is Garmin Dynamic Pod. So it's something like this, and you can see at the bottom left there, I put in the red square box there. You can see your left and the right, right? Normally they'll tell you by 50-50%. That means balance, right? Out of the 100%, 50 is on the left, 50 is on the right. So you should not have more than 2% difference, because it's normal to have imbalanced leg, because everyone is the same. Rarely we have very balanced leg. Even elite athlete doesn't have balanced leg. We test everyone in the lab with all our national athletes last time, like none of them have balance. They usually have 49-51 or 48-52. That's the ratio they have. So all of them are in the normal condition. You can use ground contact time, but we measure both actually. But normally, for this one, they only give you one. I seen like Jason's data, because you're using Stride, and Michelle, they don't have this data except the ground contact time, right? Of course, you also give the leg stiffness. That's a different thing. It's not to measure the imbalance between left and right. So how do you do this? Is you actually put it behind your pants in the middle. If you don't put in the middle, it give you the wrong data. So you have to make sure that you need to find the crack of your butt area there, and you measure up like where's the middle, or you can follow your spine, and then from there you clip it, right? Make sure your pants is something that is actually tight, like tight. If you wear a loose pant, right, that thing will move left and right. Okay, so if you want to use it, bicycle, we have it. Well, we call the IAV measurement things. Last time we have it. I think ISN now got all these tools, but I don't think you all will have this unless Garmin is using the Vector 3. There are other brands like this as Soma. So they call the instantaneous angular velocity. So we can see the power generated between your left and your right. Then we know, then we measure whether it's like how much difference is it. So we combine the two and we make it 100%, and then we see like, so one, is it 48 to 52, 49 to 51, or 50-50? So this is how we measure for bike. So power data is very important rather than looking at percent, right? Yeah, percent straight away, they straight away tell you based on the contact time, the force generating. So both also have now. Bicycle has it first, running only come later right now. But last time we do it on the force platform, which is very expensive. Okay. So the other thing you can do, right, is actually to do single leg exercise to find out, like I said, the most basic way to find out if you have left right leg discrepancy, right, is to do the slow movement exercise. Like you do single leg squat, you do it slow, and then you feel the difference. Can your right copy your left, or your left copy your right? So like both legs can go to the same depth, and then can come up at the same speed, and they feel the same. So it's about copying each other. So like this is the one that exercise I told you. For beginner, you put a bench, you do the single leg squat until your butt touch the bench, and then you come out slowly. Come out slowly, not come out faster, because we don't want to tap the momentum. Then you know your front muscle and your back muscle. That means your quads and your hamstring, like whether they are equally balanced. Okay, so this is how you check it out. I think this one you can do. The other one you can do is actually you stand on top of the bench, and then you go all the way down, and then you come up. All right, this is called the single leg squat. So you can do two of this. So yeah, that's it. You can treat this as an exercise. It's a part of a training, but at the same time, it can be used as a assessment. So you don't feel like, today should I do assessment? Should I do training? If I, same like when I ask you all to do time trial, like it's the same. It can be a part of a training. So that's it. So any Q&A?